On my kicker tonight, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, kicked up a storm this week when it came up with a list of words that should be added to those that can be categorized as hate speech in Kenya. The NCIC list of 21 words was greeted with scorn and predictable defiance and rejection. None of the words stood out more than the mouthful slang, Sipangwingwi, which translates loosely to, I can't be told what to do, or something cocky like that. The second term that generated both scorn and controversy is the term watajua, hawajui, which translates to, they won't know what hit them, or something like that. Let me admit, I'm not a slang expert by any measure. I'm not familiar with most of its words, and I've not done a good job keeping pace with the head-spinning evolution of slang words. Slang words change meaning or relevance so fast that Sipangwingwi may not even mean the same thing for the NCIC 5 years from now. But here is my problem with the NCIC. First, I found its interpretation of some of the words too simplistic. Sipangwingwi, for example, cannot really carry the meaning communicated by the NCIC that stated that Sipangwingwi was, quote, a phrase targeting certain families and communities that have been in power for long, particularly the Luo and the Kikuyu communities. That's simplistic. I want to accuse the NCIC of imagination on this one. Sipangwingwi is more of a protest term, and protest is the easiest way to political mobilization. I also want to accuse the NCIC of turning up rather late and jumping on the wrong words. If the NCIC was truly concerned about divisive terms, it should have spoken out when the hustlers versus dynasties narrative came to the scene. In my view, Sipangwingwi is by far moderate and mild compared to the hustlers versus dynasty narrative that sought to pursue political objectives along the divisive line of social and economic classes. And so I think the NCIC will not win the argument against the term Sipangwingwi because in many ways it does not meet the interpretation attached to it by the NCIC. The NCIC should have also done a better job in digging up the background of some of these words. A casual check, for example, of words like Sipangwingwi and hustler indicates that those words are actually older, even if slightly, than the presidential ambitions of Deputy President William Ruto. Nairobi residents, especially those in Eastlands, have always, for years, used the word kuhustle to mean working hard to make a living in whatever way. We as Kenyans say in ordinary conversations, ni kuhustle too, and the word hustle has for long been associated with the common hard-working and law-abiding mwananchi. NCIC should have dug deep too, in the same streets of Nairobi like we all do, where regular folks say, Sipangwingwi, to mean I'm capable of sorting my stuff out. A common man's version of yes, I can, if you may. These are the reasons DP Ruto and his allies have found it so easy to defy the NCIC because, for sure, we haven't heard yet hate speech terms resting on such weak logic as presented to Kenyans by the cohesion body. Now, there is one more thing worse than getting the term Sipangwingwi and watajua, hawajui wrong, and that is the NCIC wasting time and money in Nairobi, backing up the wrong tree. On national politics, and specifically the presidential campaign, the NCIC should stop cherry-picking words as hate speech, but instead confront the general decline of our national discourse. When national leaders squabble in public, call each other names, and show contempt for rules and customs, that should worry the NCIC more than watajua, hawajui. Common decency is dying, and decorum is collapsing, and increasingly, government and authority is becoming the ultimate prize for the boldest of the dirtiest players. At the local level, the NCIC should remind itself the real reason it was formed: cohesion and integration of communities and tribes of Kenya. In an election year, the NCIC should, for example, be concerned about election arithmetic that rests entirely on the principle of one tribe against another, or one set of tribes or clans against another set of tribes and clans. Is the NCIC aware, for example, that this is the standard formula applied in elections across the country? And indeed, the very basis the next government, whichever side wins, will be formed. Surely, NCIC, it takes more than just 21 words. Let me finish with a story. Somewhere in a village, in a region that I will not mention, two Kenyans were arguing, and one, holding a machete, warned the other friend, calling him, my friend, my friend. And with one blow, he struck his friend dead. Outraged elders gathered and banned the word, my friend. That is my kicker.